Right, so the transfer window is now finished. It slammed shut at 11 o'clock last night with Fulham making a couple of important deals last night. So what I'm going to do today is give my review on the window, what I felt, what my opinions are on the window, the new signings and all the players who left. So we're going to quickly briefly run through all the players who left, and we're going to go into a bit more detail on them. So Jordan Graham left, Rafa Suarez left, Michael Madl left, so did Ragnar Sigurdsson, Stephen Humphreys, Matthias Kite, George Williams and Johan Mollo. Don't forget though that Humphreys, Kite and George Williams all left on loan going to Rochdale, St Johnstone and Ross County respectively, with Ragnar Sigurdsson going to FC Rostov, Michael Madl going to Austria Vienna, and also Jordan Graham's loan being terminated, as was Rafa Suarez's loan terminated as well, and also Johan Mollo's contract was terminated with immediate effect as well. So some of them players, looking at what happened like yesterday, it doesn't surprise me. It was on the cards for a long time because a handful of them players were frozen out in the under-23s. The likes of Jordan Graham, Johan Mollo and Rafa Suarez only featured on a handful of occasions really in terms of them trying to play first-team football, and they spent a lot of time playing in the Checkatrade Cup with the under-23 squad, and also playing in the Premier League 2 as well with the under-23s again. And just reflecting on that, looking at the way Johan Mollo was, he came obviously coming from Zenit St Petersburg. Played I think it's only 6 times he played in the first team. He played a couple of games early on in the season, but his last appearance was away up at Wolves, I think it was, when we got beat 2-0 there. I think that was his last first team appearance. Other than that, he's been training with the youngsters and playing in the academy as well in terms of trying to get game time, but it never materialised for him really. A talented player on his day, I felt. He came in and looked quite good in my opinion from what I saw of him. In bits and pieces, he looked quite good, but obviously not good enough for Jokanovic in terms of him trying to hold down the first team place. It failed to materialise. Similar to Rafa Suarez, when he came in as well, lots of hype was around him being one of the best left backs in the league potentially if he was going to come in and be that left back we desperately needed, allowing Sessegnon to push on. And it didn't happen again for him either. He only made a couple of appearances as well. He didn't look, I don't know really, it's hard to really judge these players because they didn't really play much at all. And yeah, sadly, his loan from FC Porto has been terminated, he's been sent back. Another failure really that highlights the summer transfer window where a handful of players are really signed by Craig Klein, the infamous Craig Klein who's now left. He left the club in the summer as well, quite controversially. But yeah, just sums up some of the players really. Also Jordan Graham as well, another player who was involved in the under-23s. I think only played just over half an hour of first team football, which is actually quite poor. His only main real cameo role come off the bench in that 2-1 defeat to Burton early on in the season in September. And yeah, it's just disappointing from their points of view. Obviously, they need game time to try and develop as players. Rafa Suarez in particular and Johan Mollo were probably more expensive signings in terms of the wages they were taking up as well. And they were probably brought in by whoever brought them in to try and play in the first team a lot. But it just didn't really work out for them. They failed to nail down first team places. And it was probably good for us to get them off the wage bill because they were using a large chunk of our wage budget that we didn't need to be using up. So it's good to offload them. Obviously, Jordan Graham's come back to Wolves now. He hasn't featured in any of their games since he's gone back, which probably suggests that he probably won't do towards the end of the season unless he's going to be used as cover for someone on the likes of Diogo Jota and maybe cover for Barry Douglas as well in particular. But going into the 2 permanent deals we let go were Michael Madl and Ragnar Sigurdsson. This worried me a bit building up to last night's deadline in particular because we let two centre-halves go and we've only got Thomas Callas, Tim Ream at centre-half. Dennis Odoi can play there, but he's not a natural centre-half. He's been filling in there for parts of this season when the likes of Callas and Ream have been either injured or suspended or ineligible to play as well. And it did worry me as well because we're quite thin on the ground in that position and letting go 2 centre-halves, in particular Michael Madl, who we haven't really seen in a long time. I mean, he started the season very well. Last season started off really well, built up a very good partnership with Thomas Callas, particularly in that Newcastle game. And many of us thought that could be the partnership we could have going forward. But then in that September of last season, he got sent off against Birmingham in that 1-0 defeat there, which was our first loss of last season as well. And obviously the emergence of Tim Ream's fantastic form and his stake in the claim with the first team and holding that down as well suggested that it was always going to be hard for Madl to come back into the team. And he has found it hard in the last 18 months in particular, only featuring in League Cup games in particular, recently against Wickham and also against Bristol Rovers as well. And it's a shame really because he came in towards 2015-16 and really was one of the reasons why we probably stayed up. He gave us some stability and some organisation in the defence that was leaking goals left, right and centre, which was quite horrific that season was. And it's a shame that he never managed to recapture some of that form when, never got really to recapture the form and nail down the first team place after his first half season built so much promise in terms of him maybe staking a claim at centre half and then moving up to try and be a a good first team player, but obviously when you've got Tim Ream playing really, really well and being probably the most consistent player we've got in the team at the moment, it was always going to be hard. And as for Ragnar Sigurdsson, I think it's a lesson learned for Fulham not to sign players based on a summer tournament, really. Obviously played really well with Iceland in the Euro 2016, helped knock out England, also scored a goal against England prior to knocking them out in that game as well. Again, another player who came in, first impressions were he looked quite solid, but on the whole, he just failed to settle, failed to nail down the first team place as well. A couple of poor performances, most notably against Nottingham Forest last season, where Ben Brereton gave him the runaround for the first half an hour or so, and then Jukanovic bombed him off, Ragnar Sigurdsson, after half an hour and brought on, I think it was Michael Maddell, in fact, in that game as well. Maddell did come on for Sigurdsson in that game as well. And that just then highlighted the dramatic decline in Sigurdsson's Fulham career, where first team appearances were sparingly. He came on towards the end away at Norwich last season to try and hold on to that 3-1 win there. And apart from that, really goes off, without really, nailing down any first team place or making any headlines in terms of being a Fulham player. And as I said before, it's a lesson that we probably shouldn't sign players, as I said, off the back of a summer tournament, because you're only using, what you've seen from in an international stage, really, and it's hard to go by in terms of trying to see what they're like in the club environment. Because obviously international and club environment are very different in terms of what they can produce and what they can throw up in terms of consistency and performances as well. So yeah, it was good to see him go in the end. A player who was never going to get back in the first team after that awful last season. So going back into the players we brought in, actually, we brought in Matt Targett on loan from Southampton. Much needed in terms of getting a left back in. That allows Ryan Sessegnon now to push forward at left wing and get back, 10 goals a season for Sessegnon as well at left wing. Suggests that he's much better there, and he's not really great at left back, I don't think. And most importantly, I don't think he is a left back. I think he's going to be like Gareth Bale in terms of his progression from left back to playing along the forward line as well. And Matt Targett's a good acquisition there. He can hold his own in this league. Obviously played in the Premier League, so he's got experience at a higher level as well with Southampton. He's played a couple of times at left back for them as well. And this could be a very shrewd bit of business in terms of him. If he can adapt and bring some form he's had from the Premier League in terms of when he's been playing at Southampton, it could be a very good deal. And also he brought in Cyrus Christie for £3 million plus a £1 million add-on from Middlesbrough late last night as well, which is dramatic stuff in terms of deadline day for us. Fantastic right back in my opinion, a Republic of Ireland international, done lots, played very well in terms of his spell at Derby County, played a lot in the first team there as well, got some good experience there. Went to Middlesbrough this summer, won a game amongst first signings there, and it hasn't materialised since Tony Pulis came in. Obviously, this scored equaliser against us at Craven Cottage, but obviously, ever since Gary Monk left, Tony Pulis has come in, been playing Ryan Shotton at right back, even though he's a centre half by trade, and they've also brought in Martin Craney now as well to replace the long gone Cyrus Christie. Going to have a good signing, as I said, at the Republic of Ireland international. Played a lot of Derby as well. Good signing. Does that mean Ryan Fredericks could be off in the summer? Obviously, his contract's running down in the summer now. No talk of a new deal being signed anytime soon as well. But if that's the case, and I think we have got a good replacement in terms of playing him at right back. Cyrus Christie's a good athletic fullback. He's got good pace. He can defend well as well. And can also play the style we want to play, bomb forward on the flanks and provide some extra width and creativity towards the wingers as well. So going to our final signing on deadline day, it was Alexander Mitrovic. I'm sure everyone's all aware by now. And that was a striker we desperately needed as well in terms of bringing somebody in, really, because it was obviously linked with Stefano Akaka. Watford then later on in the evening turned around and said he ain't going to go nowhere. Obviously, they let Isaac Success go to Malaga on loan from them as well. So it meant that Stefano Akaka wasn't going anywhere. Obviously, we got a bit fortunate with this deal, because obviously Alexander Mitrovic was meant to be going to Anderlecht on loan from Newcastle, but obviously Anderlecht couldn't sell a player, which meant they couldn't finance the loan wages to get the Alexander Mitrovic deal over the line, which meant he had to come all the way back from Brussels across to London. He had to part with his medical in Brussels, though, which made the deal a bit more easier. And we managed to get the deal over the line at about 11:45 last night. Fantastic striker in terms of his ability as well. He plays very well. Aggressive striker, good target man. It's probably something we were crying out for in terms of a good focal point up front who can really cause havoc in the defence as well. He's a big, tall striker. He's also got a bit of a mean streak to him, which is probably something we need as well, because we're quite a soft team in terms of the way we like to play. And that was not many players who tend to have a bit of aggression there. So he'll definitely add something different to the front line as well. Give us a bit of an option to hold the ball up. He's also a good finisher as well, as we've seen with the likes of Serbia when he's been playing at international level as well, and also in brief little stints at Newcastle as well. If he can just control his temper sometimes on the pitch, which has been his Achilles heel, then he could be a very, very shrewd acquisition to us going forward into the top two hopefully this season, which is what we're definitely aiming for now as well. Now we're into the top six. Just quickly running through the players who went out on loan. Obviously Humphreys went out on, so we've got 3 players there who went out on loan. Probably players who weren't going to get anyone in the first team either, and it's good to see him go out and hopefully get some first team experience. Obviously Stephen Humphreys has been out on loan a couple of times already in the past with the likes of Shrewsbury and he's also played in the first team a bit last season as well. But I think playing out on loan now will be much better than playing in the under-23s because he's playing for points, as is George Williams and Matthias Kite as well, which could be a one that I want to keep a watch on because he's done very well in the under-23s this season, has Kite, and hopefully he can go out to the Scottish Premier League under Owen Coyle or Ross County, who currently sit bottom in the SPL. Hopefully he can go out there now, express himself in Scotland, and hopefully come back down here with a look towards the first team next season. So there you have it, everyone. There's my transfer window summed up in about 10 minutes at Fulham. If you do like it, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new as well, and we'll see you all for Saturday's game at Nottingham Forest, which I will be vlogging. So yeah, see you Saturday. Bye-bye.